Trying to go live. There we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome. All right, so today we're going to talk about a little thing called mindset, Monday Mindset here with Dr. Nicole Smith. Hello. So I'm Dr. Nicole Smith. I'm the founder of Antigravity Wellness. I am a nurse practitioner with my doctorate in advanced nursing practice, board certified in family practice and in orthopedics, and will also be board certified in menopause here next year when I take the board exam. And I specialize in perimenopause and menopausal care. I run a telemedicine practice here in Washington State. We do coaching and hormone replacement and all things perimenopause and menopause. And I went through my own journey going through early perimenopause. Symptoms started at 37, and I just turned 43 this month, actually last month, November. It's already December. It's so crazy. And I just wanted to share my before and after. If you look at my stories, you can see it there too. So in this picture here, I was at my heaviest. I was about 26 years old. And you want to talk about some self-limiting beliefs right here. I didn't think that I would be leaner than a size 12. I thought a size 12 would be as lean as I would ever get because I was just a bigger girl. And I had been bullied a lot when I was younger. Girls are mean. And I believed a lot of the things that were told to me, unfortunately, because I was just the sweetest, kindest little thing, and had no idea that people were mean. couldn't have fathomed that. So I really internalized that, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? So that became my reality. And one day I looked at a picture of myself and I was like, I'm not okay with this. This isn't all right. So slowly but surely, through trial and error and doing the whole like eat less, move more, and took up running, I did lose the weight. I dropped 50 pounds and I kept it off. And then eventually first I ended up being skinny fat. And this was later here when I prepped for my first bodybuilding competition. I did a couple of preps and I did one show. So it took me a little while to get there, but finding what worked, it took a long time. And part of that was because of my self-limiting beliefs, but also just not knowing what really worked and what didn't. And we can have a conversation about that later. But today I want to talk about your self-limiting beliefs and how this can relate to you. Sometimes we just need evidence, but it can be really hard to go get that evidence when you've never done the work to get there to begin with. So chicken or egg, right? So I'm reading this really great book called Choose Your Story, Change Your Life by Kendra Hall. And she's brilliant. She also wrote another book. Now I'm going to forget the name of it. I read her other one as well, which is geared more towards entrepreneurs and business owners, but also a very fantastic book. This one is more for just people in general, as opposed to just business owners. So it's really great for anybody. She has exercises in here that you can actually do. So it's not just a conceptual book of, hey, this is a great idea. Maybe we should look at our stories and understand how they're affecting us. But she actually has exercises in here that you can go through. So we're going to just talk about this a little bit because you're like, why are we talking about this, Nicole? How does this relate to perimenopause? Well, it relates to perimenopause because we have so many stories that we have been telling ourselves for so long. And now as women coming into our late 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond, we really need to take a step back and analyze those. If you're not where you want to be in your life in general, let alone going through perimenopause, that is really something that needs to be assessed. And many, many times it's the things that we subconsciously tell ourselves that are actually holding us back. We don't even realize that they're there. This girl right here who thought she was never going to be smaller than a size 12. And guess what happened? After a year, I got down to a size 12. And then a year later, I was down to a size 6. And I just kept going, like not beyond that, but except when I stepped up on stage, that was pretty tiny, but definitely my leanest. But those limiting beliefs that we have can keep us stuck for so long. But all it takes is a slight awareness and a little twist to that to go, but what if that's not true? What if? So when you ask yourself that question, you can start to see how maybe you can start to turn things around, even through perimenopause. And it's kind of interesting. I just got a testimonial from a client today, and she had been struggling for years, as so many of the women who come to me are. They're struggling for years and not getting the answers that they need, not getting the help that they need. And she was doing her due diligence and talking to her doctors and doing exactly what they told her to do. But for some reason, these ones in particular would not give her any hormone replacement. And she is like, perimenopause, I can understand there's still a lot of misinformation and not enough education. So they won't give hormone replacement to perimenopausal women who aren't officially menopausal, which meaning 12 months without a period. And then, then it tends to be a little bit more acceptable that we give them some hormone replacement. But she was fully into menopause and having symptoms, had tried for years to do all of the things, all of the FDA approved, blah, 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 and had some results, but not the results she was looking for, and was still struggling with things like her libido and frequent UTIs. So she comes to me and she's just like, I'm just fed up with this. And so I talked to her. We really dive into things. We figure out what's going on. And I'm like, yeah, so you qualify for hormone replacement therapy. So let's go. Let's do this. And, we've continued to work together. And she has had such an amazing turnaround in things that she had given up on. And she was definitely at that point where she was telling herself, like, this is just what it is, this is just my life, and I have no sex life anymore, and everything's just dried up down there, And so many of us are told that that's the story that we have to accept. But thankfully, she had a friend who told her, hey, I hear Nicole's doing this thing, and maybe you should go talk to her. And thankfully, we were connected and I was able to help her. So it just takes that one thing to think about, what can we do? What else? What other possibilities are there? So I'm just going to read a little bit out of this book here for you guys. And I'm talking to that one person who needs to hear this, and everybody else, hopefully you get a little bit of benefit out of this. But so we've been taught that the way we operate in the world is clear, that our thoughts and actions are conscious and rational. We think that things happen, we respond to those things, and that's how we get our results. It's a tidy package that looks like this. A thing happens, you respond to that thing, there's a result. Just for a little picture there, what we think happens. But as we know, things are not so tidy. Not actually what happens. So what really happens? Rather than directly and consciously responding to the world around us, we're using stories to interpret and inform what happens to us. And those stories are changing how we respond and behave, which in turn directly impacts our results. Like this. We have an event. There's a story that we tell ourselves about what that event means. There's a response because of that story, and then there's a result. So it looks more like that. Okay? So what is interesting? She talks about how to actually go through and figure these things out. She talks about the iceberg. So again, we have, turning it the right way. We have the event, the story, the response, and the result. But notice how the story is an iceberg. That's because we have our initial thought. And sometimes you're not even aware of what that initial thought is. Maybe the thought is, I'm too old. I'm too old. I'm getting old. I'm getting overweight and letting things go. Like, I had kids and, they just wrecked my body, and there's nothing I can do about it. All my friends are in the same boat. We're all just here, and this is what life is, right? Underneath that little tip, though, that thing that we tell ourselves subconsciously, if we dig deeper and we look under the surface, you see the huge iceberg. And if you know icebergs, most of their mass, 85 to 90% of the mass, is underwater. You can't even see it. So when we take a look underneath at what's going on, all these little stories that have made up this belief that we have, we realize that, oh, that came from a certain place. And maybe at one time, that belief, that story served you. It probably did. It probably kept you safe. It got you through a hard time, or it was formed by somebody. It might have been given to you. A lot of our stories are given to us by our friends, our family, and not from a malicious place. It's usually from a place of love or trying to, convey some wisdom on you so you don't have to learn the hard way like they did, right? Sometimes, though, we just have to learn the hard way. So by looking at those deeper stories, we're able to realize where that came from and then take a step back and go, is that still serving me? Like my story of how I was always going to be overweight. I was always going to be the heavy set girl. That was just how I was. Was that really serving me? I think for a while it was keeping me safe because I didn't have to feel bad about something that just was. And it felt bad to be told that you're fat. And of course you want ice cream, Nicole, because you're fat. Literally happened in my life. uh, when we're able to actually look at that though and go, that really sucked. Maybe that was something that did help us again at that time, but now it's time to let that go. And it's time to find a better way. So I really encourage everybody to go get this book, listen to it or rent it, or I think it's free right now actually on Kindle Unlimited if you have that. Last time I looked that up. So I definitely encourage that. And then I encourage you guys to sit down and think about your own stories. What are your own limiting beliefs? What is holding you back? Why are you not doing the things that you know that you need to do, the actions that you need to carry out in order to have the life that you want to have? Because girls, ladies, we do not have that much time left, okay? We are not getting any younger, and we're not getting any, any less mobile, or more mobile. We need to take the time that we have to create the life that we want right now. Right now. Like if I could light a fire under your freaking butt, I would, because right now is the time. So what stories are you telling yourself that are keeping you from living the life that you want to live? What is holding you back? Really take a look at that and ask yourself, does this story still serve me? If it does, okay. If it's keeping you safe in some way, acknowledge that and thank the story. Thank you for keeping me safe. But maybe it's time to let it go. Maybe we're adults now and we can take care of ourselves and we don't need these stories to keep us safe anymore. Maybe we just need to do the actions and pick different stories, because as many bad stories as you have, and our brains love bad stories because it keeps us safe. Our brain is always trying to keep us safe. What stories, good stories, do we have? What stories can we pick that will actually help us to move forward in a direction that we now want to go in? So that's your homework. And I hope that helped any one of you to overcome some of your fears there. And it's so important because everything starts in the mind. If you can't get your mind right, nothing else is going to fall into place. So I talk a lot about that, and that's why it is so very important. And I do a lot of psychology with my clients as opposed to just like straight tell them, okay, take this, this, and this. That's all good. But if we don't work on our mindsets, none of it matters. So, all right, guys. I hope you're having a great Monday, Mindset Monday, and I will check you out on the next video. Bye.